So when you are in a sad situation, what do? You sit down and start thinking of all the problems you are currently facing. So even the earth that is currently facing a lot of problems is lost in thoughts, as you can see here. It is very worried about the various problems it is facing. Some of them like the wildfires, also deforestation, also the harmful gases that are being emitted through industries into the atmosphere, increasing the air pollution. Then there is the emission of greenhouse gases from the vehicles that usually use petroleum based fuels like petrol and diesel. So why exactly is the earth so worried? So if we feel too hot, we find an alternative, right? But how does the earth find an alternative to that? Well, we here need to help it out. But we already are gifted with various things that could help the earth get rid of its problems. So let's learn them in details. The very first gift is the solar energy. Yes, solar energy is a non-conventional source of energy and it is inexhaustible. Inexhaustible means it is in abundance and there's no chance of it to get ever depleted. And also these kind of solar panels are used in places that have plenty of sunshine. So we could list those places particularly in the equatorial region, right? Another very important gift is the wind energy. While this is another renewable or non-conventional source of energy which is usually generated in a wind farm, right? So these wind farms has a number of wind turbines connected to the power transmission network that helps in generating the wind energy. Another very important non-conventional source of energy is the tidal energy. So this is produced by converting the energy from the natural rise and fall of tides, that is the low tides and the high tides respectively, and convert these into electricity using turbines. So you know that these power plants or these tidal plants are generally placed at the coastal areas where it is easier to produce the tidal energy, right? So here's another very important renewable source of energy, and that is the geothermal energy, which is continuously being produced at the Earth's core. So people use this geothermal energy for bathing, to heat buildings and to generate electricity. So you see that the water that is at the ground level is getting heated up because of the heat produced at the Earth's core, right? So from this hot water, steam is being drawn up through pipes and this steam is being transmitted to the turbines and generators from where electricity is being produced and it is being transmitted through transmission lines, and then eventually this steam is again injected through the injection wells back to the water table. So this cycle goes on and here geothermal energy is produced. So can you help me answer this question? Well, which renewable energy source comes from using the heat produced inside the earth? Is it the geothermal energy, or is it the tidal energy, or the solar energy, or the hydroelectricity? Yes, the answer is the geothermal energy. Now what do you see here? It says that plant a tree and reduce global warming. What do you mean by that? Well, we must understand that a mature tree absorbs almost 22 kgs of carbon dioxide a year. Now we know that carbon dioxide is the most abundant greenhouse gas present in the atmosphere, and it is also most responsible for increasing the effect of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So if we plant a tree and as it gets matured, it will absorb up to 22 kgs of carbon dioxide a year, thus reducing global warming and reducing the global temperature. Now, there are various other ways that could also help us reduce global warming. Some of them are: turn off the lights and electronic devices. We often tend to leave the lights in the rooms or hall rooms or dining rooms, and also leave on electronic devices, like we forget to take off the charger from the plug, etc. There are many other ways that we be very careless about these things. So if we be very careful about these simple things, then we could save a lot of energy. Also, use energy efficient bulbs like the CFLs. So we know that the CFLs last almost 10 times more than the incandescent bulbs. It is also believed that the CFLs use two-thirds less energy as compared to the regular bulbs, and also that it emits 70% less heat than the other bulbs. Right. So what do you see here? We have often seen this symbol at various places, but what exactly do they mean? This denotes the principle of waste management, which is based on reduce, reuse, and recycle. So what exactly do we mean by reduce? Well, waste reduction can be done by preventing waste from being generated by simply decreasing or eliminating the amount of materials initially used. So how do we help that? Instead of using disposables, we could use reusable things or reusable materials or containers that could be lasting for a longer period of time, right? Right. So reduce waste by choosing reusable products instead of disposables, as I've just mentioned. Naming a few examples would be these. So the very first thing that we need to know is the rules of recycling. We must know that which materials could be recycled while which could be thrown at once. We must make smart choices. Also, use reusable containers. So in our kitchens or in our dining rooms or places that we use containers of various forms of plastic or things that cannot be used later or may not last in a long period. So there we should replace it with reusable containers that last longer. The third point would be avoiding plastic bags. So you must have been instructed in schools and at various places to avoid using plastic bags, right? And to replace it with paper bags or jute bags. It is a smart and a better choice for the environment as well as for us. Also, using reusable kitchenwares is another important and smart way to keep our environment safe. So, using unnecessary things that could not be disposed easily or could not be degraded easily will eventually lead to the accumulation of waste around us. Moving on to the second principle, which says to reuse. Now we see that reuse is a practice of using a material over and over again in its current form. So here is an example of a water bottle, a plastic water bottle that was initially used to drink water, and now it's being used to plant a tree or any small herb or shrub, right? So we know that materials like plastic bottles, jugs and containers and glass bottles and jars that were initially bought from markets to store jams, to store butter, pickles, etc. could be reused, and many other such things that could be reused in a daily basis. The third and the final principle is recycling. Recycling can help reduce quantity of solid waste deposited in landfills. So examples could be various, but here, see, gifts are being wrapped with newspapers. We generally tend to buy newspapers, read the news and then throw it off, right? Or just store it at some corner of the house. But instead of buying plastic gift wrappers or things like that, we could actually use the newspapers to wrap the gifts and see how beautiful it looks. So in this way, we are recycling the paper and not leading to any kind of waste. Another very important example is the can recycling. So we tend to buy different kinds of drinks, cold drinks and soft drinks that comes generally in cans, or stored food that comes in cans like stored pickle or stored meat, etc. So what we tend to do is to throw these cans randomly at some corner of the street or at some corner of the house. So we can send these used cans to these recycling centers that can help recycle them to new cans and it can again be used. Now, before going on to change the world, we must first start at home. So, we can do simple things to reduce global warming, like switching off the lights that are not required, changing the bulbs or replacing them with CFLs that are energy efficient bulbs, right? Also using less hot water or recycle cans or newspapers or any other such material that could possibly be recycled. Planting a tree at our own garden or nearby road could also help. So there are various simple things that we could do to change the current situation. So, another very important and interesting way to reduce global warming is using carpooling. So, in schools, you must have experienced this. So, a bus used to come, a school bus, and used to carry all your friends along with you from your homes and take you to school. So, why was this done? This was done for various reasons. So, the very first benefit of carpooling was usable commute time. Second, it saves money. So if you all come in different cars to the same school or the same place, you all are giving money to different transport vehicles. But here, when you're coming together in the same vehicle, then it's costing less, right? Now, it reduces traffic congestion. So there are 4 people in this car. So if each comes in a different vehicle, so there are 4 cars traveling to the same place. But if they are all coming in one car together to the same place, then it is obviously reducing the traffic congestion. Lastly, cut down the emission of greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide. So we know that vehicles emit greenhouse gases like nitrous oxide, like methane, and principally carbon dioxide. So with the usage of less vehicles, we know that the emission of carbon dioxide is also reduced. So if you love your Mother Earth, then you must ride a bike. Now, what do I mean by saying that? Well, riding a bike can have various benefits, and the most important one is that it is very safe for the environment as well as very beneficial for your health. So, we all must ride a bike. So, here we have various points that justify this particular fact that riding a bike can be very helpful for you and the environment. So the very first point here says that less wear and tear on the environment, right? So you see that bicycle that is manually run will not cause that much damage to the environment as compared to other heavy vehicles, right? So riding a bicycle will lead to less wear and tear on the environment. Then zero emission, no burning of fossil fuels. Now since cycle is manually controlled, there is no emission of greenhouse gases that could increase the global temperature. Thirdly, healthier lifestyle. So we know that doctors often suggest us to go on walking or running or even cycling. These are important ways of exercising and it could keep us fit and healthier. Fourthly, happiness and joy when riding. So we know that sitting in your cars with a sad face, nothing to do, we go to school, so we have no role to play while we're traveling. But if you ride a cycle, you go on different lanes, slithering here and there, so it's fun and you really enjoy it. Fifthly, it saves energy, burn calories and not fuel. So we know that cars use petroleum-based fuels like petrol and diesel. So instead, when we're using a cycle, there is no use of any such fuels and it is being controlled manually. So here, our calories are getting burned but not the fuels. So today in this video, we learned that saving the Mother Earth is very important because it's the place where we live, right? We need to keep it clean. We need to help it come out of its problems. And we can do that by really simple methods. We are also gifted with various non-conventional or renewable sources of energy that we could use. But remember, we cannot completely rely on them. We have to be careful on our part also. right? So we still have time to save our Mother Earth. Yes, we do. There are various schemes that are being taken up by governments at various parts of the world, but if we don't help them, then these schemes will be failing badly. So we need to be very, very responsible in protecting our Mother Earth.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at deltastep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.